So we wanted to see, okay, so there are people, we've been surveying people that do open water swimming. Now we need to see if we can get people that have never open water swimming into the water and see if it has any impact. So we had to do 2 studies here. It gets bigger and better. So we have a group here of the general public who were undertaking an outdoor swimming course with swim instructors, with lifeguards, so that they're taught in a pool to start with, and then brought into the open water. And we monitored their mood and well-being as well. So we had swimmers, and we measured their mood before and after their swims, and then at the start of the swim course and at the end of the swim course. So the swimmers had improvements in their mood, both they had an increase in positive mood and a reduction in negative mood states at the end of the swim, and also reduced negative mood by the end of the course. Now we also had a group that were beach watchers. These were members of the public that were supporting the swimmers that were in the water, and we surveyed them as well. Now they didn't have the mood changes, they had no changes in their mood, but then their well-being improved just from being on the beach. So it means you don't actually have to get in the water to have a change in your well-being. Okay? So the message here is you don't have to get in if you don't want to, but in actual fact, it was probably better to be in the water because it was cold, it was wet, it was rainy, it was miserable being on the beach. It was probably better being in the water. Okay, to move on to this side then, so what we have here are participants that are living with symptoms of depression. And this is a symptom of depression scale, with the red being the most severe symptoms, and down here at the bottom being the least severe. And we took some measures at baseline, before their studies, we took them after the course, and then followed them up for 3 months. So our volunteers mainly had mild to moderate depression, and after the course, they are borderline having any symptoms at all, and we were more impressed with the fact that the follow-up period, they were also had reduced levels of depression. Now mainly because most of them carried on swimming, which we didn't think would happen, particularly in a group of people that were adamant they weren't going to go in the water in the first session. So we were quite impressed. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking the screen again, expecting the screen. So now we found out that it's acceptable to get people in, people will accept going into the cold water. Now this is where the funding really has to come in. So our aim now is to get a nice guideline for nature on prescription. We want to see people who want to take up nature-based activity to be able to do so on prescription. So now we're looking at funding from the National Institute of Health and Care in order to do this type of funding, which is the same type of clinical research that drug companies will do to get a drug registered. So this is what we're embarking on this year. And it's a study called a randomised controlled trial, whereby we're recruiting 88 people in different locations around the country in order to establish whether we can use outdoor swimming as a means of reducing symptoms of depression. And you have to do that not only by having a similar design to what we've had previously, where we have a swim course and then a follow-up period, but also we have to have a group that don't do the swim course and that we follow them up as well in the same fashion. Because as we come into summer, it may be that it's not the swimming that's helping people, but the fact that the days are longer, we've got some sunshine, it's warmer, all these things play into our mood and some into our mental health as well. So the final aim then is, we're just starting that this summer, but ultimately what we want to do is to undertake a fully funded clinical trial in which we can then start to generate part of a nice guideline. And that will be the bottom bit here, and hopefully we'll be doing that over the next few years, if this year is successful. Now all of that just tells us whether outdoor swimming will work as a means of reducing symptoms of depression. What it doesn't tell us is how. And that's where the really cool, geeky, nerdy science in me comes out. Because what we're also embarking on is to work with University of Bournemouth, looking at immersing people in cold water and then putting them in an fMRI scanner. So, And we've been doing this over the last 5 weeks. So this is myself, Alla, and members of the audience might know Dr. Ruth Williamson as well, both from Bournemouth. What we've been doing is we've been dumping people in a paddling pool, which is at 20 degrees, so it's not even that, it's cool, but it's not cold. And we've been putting them in their scanner. And then we get these really cool brain images out. Absolutely fascinating. And what we see is really interesting. So the red bits are the bits where we see increased activity. And the blue bits are where we see a reduction in activity. So all the red bits at the front of the brain here, the prefrontal cortex, that relates to an increase in calm. People become calmer. The blue bits around the brain here and on the side here are related to a reduction in movement, particularly fidgeting type movements or jitteriness. And then we have the red bits at the back, which are related to an increase in focus, concentration. Now, these are very preliminary scans, and only on a couple of people. We've still got 30 or 40 scans to do, and at 40 hours to produce that page, it's going to take us some time to go through all of that information, just to see if what we're seeing in these people is representative of the whole group. But it's still looking really cool and really promising. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. What we've been looking at today is the arguments for kill or cure. Can cold water immersion kill us or cure us from a scientific perspective? Where is the evidence? And each of these stars represents the level of evidence. So the more stars, the more evidence we have for that particular aspect. Now there's more stars on the side that cold water can kill us than cold water can kill us, can cure us at the moment. But that's just because we don't have the science behind the well-being side. We also want to know what the mechanisms are, the how. How does it help? Is it related to something physiological in these blue bubbles? Is it related to the duration of exposure? I see lots of people that go in for very short periods of time that are very happy. I don't see very many people that have been in for very, very long periods of time that are happy. So it may be something to do with the duration of exposure as well. Or could it be something more social or psychological? Could it be the fact that we're outside? Could it be the fact that we're challenging ourselves? Could it be the group of people that we're with? And could it be that it's just a distraction? So there's lots of things that we need to tease out in order to be able to advance this area of research. Because it's really the dawn, and this was taken off Eastney Beach in Portsmouth a few days ago. And we're really at the dawn of this research because we know that not everybody has access to cold water. But if we understand the mechanisms behind how people are achieving their beneficial effects, it may be that some of those individuals that can't access cold water may be able to benefit from the mechanisms which have been established, and so can have an improvement in their condition as well. So I'll wrap up there and say thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of this evening.